Every single moment of every day, there's this silent, invisible network running your entire body. And no, I'm not talking about your brain's electrical grid. This is something way more widespread. We're talking about your body's very own wireless network, the endocrine system. I mean, really think about it for a second. How does your big toe get the memo that it's time to grow? How do your cells know when to start burning fuel for energy? And how does your entire body, all at once, know when it's time to, well, panic? It all comes down to communication. Your body actually has two main communication systems. So you can think of your nervous system as a wired network, kind of like an Ethernet cable plugged right in. It sends these lightning-fast, super specific messages from point A to point B. They're powerful for sure, but they don't last long. The endocrine system, though, that's your body's wireless network. It broadcasts chemical signals, we call them hormones, through your bloodstream, creating effects that are slower, much longer lasting, and can reach almost everywhere. So here's our game plan for this explainer. We're going to start with the basics of this wireless network. Then we'll meet the master controllers up in the brain, see how they manage your daily rhythm and fuel, and then we'll trigger the intense fight-or-flight response. After that, we'll look at hormones for life's bigger journeys, and finally, we'll figure out how on earth these messages are actually received. All right, first up, let's zoom right in on the messengers themselves, the absolute key to this entire wireless network, the hormones. So what exactly is a hormone? Well, it's a chemical messenger, but here's the thing. It's not a nutrient like a vitamin or a mineral. Your body actually makes it itself, and it is incredibly potent. We're talking produced in just trace amounts. It travels through your body to tell other cells what to do, regulating pretty much everything from your growth to your mood. Okay, so every network needs a command center, right? Well, let's meet the master controllers that run this entire operation from the very top. This here is our map of all the key players. As you can see, the endocrine glands are kind of scattered all over the body, from deep inside your brain all the way down to your reproductive organs. Each one has a very specific job and a very specific set of messages it's in charge of sending. Now, at the very top of the hierarchy, we've got the hypothalamus. You can think of it as the CEO of this whole operation. It's actually part of the brain, and it makes all the high-level decisions. It then sends its orders down to its general manager, which is the pituitary gland, using the special releasing and inhibiting hormones. The pituitary then takes those orders and directs all the other glands throughout the body. So here's how that chain of command actually works. The CEO, the hypothalamus, sends out a memo, which is a releasing hormone. This memo travels through a special private circulatory system directly to the manager's office, the anterior pituitary. The pituitary gets the message and goes, okay, got it, and sends out its own hormone, which then travels out to a target gland somewhere else, telling it to get to work. Okay, let's look at the glands that manage the stuff you experience every single day. Your sleep cycle, your energy levels, and how your body uses fuel. We've got two huge players here. First, the pineal gland. It's buried deep in your brain, and it basically acts as your body's internal clock. It produces melatonin to regulate your 24-hour sleep-wake cycle. Then, you've got the thyroid gland down in your neck, which is kind of like your body's engine throttle. It produces hormones like T3 and T4, and yeah, they get their names from how many iodine atoms they have, and these set your basal metabolic rate. That's how quickly your body burns fuel just to exist. And speaking of fuel, the pancreas is the absolute master fuel manager. It's performing this constant, incredible balancing act. After you eat a meal and your blood sugar is high, it releases insulin to tell your cells, hey, open up, take in this glucose for energy, which lowers your blood sugar. But if your blood sugar gets too low, it releases glucagon, which tells your liver to release its stored glucose. It's this perfect push and pull system. So we've seen how the system manages the day-to-day. But what happens when it's pushed to its absolute limit? Let's talk about crisis mode. Imagine a sudden threat. A car swerves right in front of you. You hear a loud bang in the dark. Your body doesn't have time for a slow, thoughtful response. It needs action, and it needs it now. This is the job of the adrenal glands, these little powerhouses that sit right on top of your kidneys. The inner part, called the adrenal medulla, is basically your body's panic button. When that button gets pushed, it floods your body with emergency hormones. And the effects are immediate and honestly dramatic. These hormones, adrenaline and noradrenaline, they just crank everything up to 11. Your alertness skyrockets, your heart starts pounding, your breathing gets faster, your pupils dilate to let in more light. Your body even starts dumping glucose into your blood for instant energy. You are physically primed to either fight the threat or run for your life. Okay, let's take a deep breath after all that intensity. Now let's shift gears to the hormones that aren't about an immediate crisis, but more about the long game, things like growth, development, and defense. So here we're talking about the gonads, the testes in males, and the ovaries in females. They produce the hormones like testosterone and estrogen that guide our sexual development and maturation over years. And then there's this really cool one, the thymus gland, which is located behind your breastbone. It's absolutely crucial for training your immune system. It secretes hormones called thymosins that help your T cells learn how to hunt down and fight off invaders. But here's a plot twist. It's not just the classic glands sending out these messages. Did you know your heart can actually sense high blood pressure and release a hormone to help lower it? Or that your kidneys can sense low oxygen and release a hormone to trigger more red blood cell production? Even your gut is a massive hormone factory, coordinating the whole process of digestion. It's a truly body-wide network that totally blurs the lines of what we think of as a single organ system. Okay, so we've seen all these messages being sent out, zipping around the body. But how do they find their destination? How does a hormone just floating around in the blood know exactly which cell to talk to and which ones to ignore? The elegance of this system is that it works just like a lock and key. Every target cell has specific receptors designed for specific hormones. Some hormones, like proteins, can't get inside the cell, so they bind to a receptor on the surface. It's kind of like knocking on the door. This triggers a chain reaction inside. But other hormones, like steroids, are like having the key itself. They can slip right through the cell membrane and bind to a receptor deep inside, directly telling the cell's DNA what to do. When you step back and look at the big picture, the endocrine system isn't just a collection of glands. It's this dynamic, constantly adjusting symphony of chemical signals. It's an invisible, silent orchestra that coordinates the incredible complexity that is, well, you. It governs how you feel, how you grow, how you react to the world around you. So, as we wrap this up, the question isn't just about what these hormones do, but which part of their vast, invisible influence makes you wonder the most.